We're live.
Kanye.
Yeah.
Is my country.
Yeah. So. All right. This is the Wednesday law class, as you should already know. We have classes here Monday in the UK, 7 p.m. till 9. Classes here Wednesday, 7 p.m. till 9. Thursday, 7 p.m. till 9. 394 Lodge Road, man. Coming down to the classes, you can learn a lot, man. You can ask all your questions and so forth. Coming down to the classes, you can ask your questions, get your questions answered. You can get up in this school. You can find out how to serve the Lord. You can find out where to serve the Lord, how to do it, what's the right things to do, what's not the right things to do. All your questions, what you need answering, it can be answered. So also check out Commanding General Yohanna's radio show, which is what Monday it is. Monday, 2 a.m. UK time. It's a bit late, but if you do fall asleep, you can go on the YouTube and just watch it again the next day. Also, there's classes in America Tuesday through Friday. Also, if you on the Facebook, you're due to find UPK classes going on all over the world. I believe there's classes in Canada now.
That's right.
There's a class in Canada. There's classes near enough everywhere. So just add all them pages on Facebook. You see all them pages that if you got Facebook, all them pages that come up in your friends when it says I.S.U.P.K. Trinidad, I.S.U.P.K. Jamaica, I.S.U.P.K. this, I.S.U.P.K. that. Just add all of them, and then you're due to find the class. So yeah, just add all of them, and also coming down to the school, support, getting this one body, and so forth. And today we're going to go into the Bible, how the Lord holds us at a higher standard than he does anybody else. And considering we meant to be held at a higher standard, the way we live in, we keeping up to the lowest standard. The Lord holds blacks and Hispanics as like we meant to show the glory of the Lord. People are meant to look at us and say, that's a wise God that they serve. Like you see, like when a father has a son, and everyone's saying, you know what, you raised that boy right, man. That boy is right, man. He's got manners. He's honest. He's not a thief. He's not a drug dealer. You raised him right, man. And then people give the father the glory, like, yo, listen, man, you raised your son right. I wish my son was half the son yours is. That's how the Lord looks at us. We meant to be that son. But guess what? We doing the Lord a disservice right now. Like the Lord must look down on us and be ashamed, man. Like these are the people which is meant to be my glory. But yet they're running around with knives, running around with guns, running around shooting one another, running around stabbing one another, killing each other at an alarming rate. That's what we're doing when we meant to be held at a higher standard. Meaning what? We meant to be better than everybody else. We meant to go above and beyond to be better than everybody else. Listen, there shouldn't be no white man on the face of the earth that's more righteous than you, man. There shouldn't be no Chinese man on the face of the earth that's more righteous than you, man. A Chinese man shouldn't have to tell you, stop killing each other, man. A white man shouldn't have to tell you, stop killing each other. We supposed to know these things, man. We supposed to be the children of the Lord who received the oracles of God. They didn't receive them, man. How are they telling us things that God's been telling us from the beginning, man? About the knife crime and why so much of us is in jail and how the white man looks down on us because of what? The white man's the devil anyway, but we don't help our situation. with how we behave and whatnot. But from there, give me Genesis chapter 4 and verse 8. So I'm going to start off in Genesis chapter 4 and verse 8. Genesis, which is what? The first book in the Bible.
That's right.
So Genesis, what? It means what? Genealogy.
The beginning.
The beginning and something else. I'm sure. Yeah, the beginning. Go ahead.
Genesis.
So this is the beginning. So we're reading in the beginning who was the first murderer and who was the first man to disobey God. Who was the first person to go against God? Go ahead.
Right. In the book of Genesis 4 and 8, and Cain talked with Abel.
It says, and Cain talked with Abel, his brother. Now you know that what? Adam had two sons, Cain and Abel. One was righteous, one was unrighteous, but in the beginning it weren't meant to be so. Cain had the chance to do everything right, but he chose not to. Same like we have a chance to do things right. Go ahead.
And it came to pass when they were in the field.
So it says Cain spoke with his brother, and it says, and it came to pass when they was in the field, meaning these two are somewhere. Go ahead.
That Cain rose up against Abel.
Cain rose up. Now, Abel done nothing wrong, man. Abel didn't do nothing wrong. Abel's just in the field thinking, yeah, I'm having a conversation with Cain, the white man. What did he do? Rose up, man. Go ahead.
Rose up against Abel, his brother, and slew him. So
slew him is Old English for what? Killing him. Nowadays the word slew in English means what? That you blaze someone. Yeah. That's how we use it. When you say, yeah, he slew him, we just mean he blazed him. But here, he slew means to kill. So Cain rose up against Abel and killed him. And this right here was a premeditated attack, man. Cain knew in his mind what he was going to do, man. Made sure it was in the field, and then he rose up against his brother and killed him for no reason. And our people have took on near enough that same spirit, man. Our people have took on near enough that same spirit of that same premeditated attack, killing their brothers. And they know, before they do it, they know what they're going to do. And this is why they go out with the balaclava, the knife. Now, obviously, if you just go out there and you just get into a fist fight and someone dies, obviously you didn't premeditate it. You know, you're just going about your everyday business and you're defending yourself. But when you premeditate it, like, I don't like him, he's been talking ruthless about me on Instagram. You premeditated it, man. When you go out knowing you're going to kill someone, that's premeditation, man. And even the white man knows that. And this is why, if they can prove it's a premeditated attack, you get more years in jail. Because they say you went out with the intention to what? Wound with deadly intent. That's what they say, man. They say you went out with the intention to wound with deadly intent. And that's why when you get caught with a knife, they say, yeah, well, you had a knife. Why you had a knife because you was going to use it. So you get a longer charge. Go ahead.
Verse 9, and the Lord said unto Cain, where is it? Abel, thy brother?
So after Cain killed his brother, the Lord said, yo, where's your brother? Like, the Lord ain't asking it as in he don't know where he is. He knows exactly what's happened. Go ahead. It's like your parents know what you've done, but they ask you because they want to hear your answer. Go ahead.
It's like when you come home late and you can ask, so what time do you call it?
Exactly.
And they know what time it is.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. It ain't the Lord not knowing where Abel is and he wants to know. The Lord knows all things, man. Go ahead.
And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper?
So now, Cain's giving a very sarcastic answer. He's giving a very slick, sarcastic answer. And this answer right here is the kind of answers that the white man gives today. Why did you kill it? Like when they shot Mark Duggan? Well, I thought he had a weapon, and if I was in that same situation, I'd do it again. Same kind of slick answers, man. Listen, Cain right here killed his brother, and he's saying, am I his keeper? Meaning, I don't, what do I care? Same thing the white man says when he kills us. And we've near enough took on that same spirit of the white man when we kill one another. Go ahead.
Verse 10, and he said, what hast thou done?
And he said, what?
What hast thou done?
And listen, when it said, the Lord said, what hast thou done? Meaning, he knows what is done, but he's basically saying, why have you done this? It's not saying, what hast thou done? It's like, listen, every mother who's got a son that commits some disgusting crime, and you know when the mom's saying, "What have you done?" They know exactly what you've done, but they're asking it as in, "Why would you do that?" Like the Lord is asking, "Why have you done it?" When it's saying, "What hast thou done?" Go ahead.
The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground.
And it doesn't literally mean, listen, blood can't cry, as Christians make it. Listen, what this means is there was an injustice done in the earth, man. Meaning the Lord sees what? You shed your brother, you shed innocent blood, and this is an injustice done in the earth. That's what that means when it says, the blood crieth out to me. Go ahead.
And now thou art cursed from the earth.
And now thou art cursed from the earth. Because at the time, this was at a time when what? Nobody knew about harming one another, man. Nobody knew about killing one another. This was in the very beginning, and then Cain rose up and done the first murder. And it was seen as such a disgusting thing that the Lord had to curse him from the earth, man. That's how disgusting the Lord looks at murder. But nowadays, what do? We murder one another. We take on the same spirit of the white man and murder one another. And to us, it's not really a disgusting thing because people just see it as it happens all the time. So to us nowadays, what? We've just become numb to murders. What's the death rate now? Is it 72 this year?
That's right.
There's 72 this year, and everyone's just become numb to it. People just look at it on the news and say, "Oh, another young person dead." That's all they say. Whereas this is the first murder. The Lord looked at it like, "What? This man's a murderer, and he has to be cursed from off the face of the earth, man." Go ahead.
Which have opened her out to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. Verse 12. When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength.
Yeah, basically, that's going into something else, but give me Leviticus 19 and 17. But what that's saying right there is basically the white man, he ain't going to be able to till the land properly. He ain't going to be able to get things to grow and whatnot. And this is why, if you notice with the white man, he does what? He used to make us do his farming, make us grow his cotton, his bananas and whatnot, because for him, the earth won't yield. And also, this is why he's heavily into GMO and modified chickens and all of those kind of things. And Leviticus 19 and 17. And also with him, there's laws in the Bible where it says what? You have to let the soil rest. You have to let the soil rest and whatnot. And you grow certain things and it helps the soil and whatnot. But obviously with the white man, he don't know none of that. So he just what? Uses all the soil until nothing else can't grow, and then nothing grows, and then he complains, "Oh, what they say? We're running out of food. Oh, we're running out of food. We're running out of soil. We're running out of oil. We're running out of this. Global warming, blah, 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 blah." Because obviously what the white man does is he abuses the earth. He ain't using it how it's supposed to use it. The Bible lets you know how you use it, man. Sometimes you have to give things a break. Same way he runs the earth dry is the same way how he runs the slaves dry, man. Same way the Lord requires that, you give a man rest on the seventh day. This white man don't give you no rest from work. And this is why you're doing 14-hour shifts. You go home for 6 hours, then you have to come back to work. And then you're so tired and so forth. He works you to death, man. Some man died on the train track the other day because what? The worked him to death that he was so tired that he couldn't even hear that a train was behind him. They worked him to death that much. And then got what? Hit by a train. And this is what happens, man. They don't let nothing rest, let nothing recover. Go ahead.
Leviticus 19 and 17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart.
It says you shouldn't hate your brother, man. And when you hate your brother, what does it mean? You want to do him a harm, man. You hate him so much. You're thinking, you know what? I'm going to rob him. Like if you rob your brother, you hate him, man. Because if you loved him, you wouldn't rob him. People think love and hate is just what? Something that pops up in your mind. And listen, man, you hating your brother, you acting on your emotions, man. You stabbing him, shooting him, robbing him, stealing from him. You hate your brother, man. The Lord said you shouldn't hate your brother. Because if you didn't hate your brother, we would have many more black men still alive today. If we didn't hate our brother, our nation would be doing good right now, man. We wouldn't be in the conditions that we're in. You wouldn't have to come to Handsworth and take your jewelry off, man. You wouldn't have to hide your jewelry when you're amongst your people. You're supposed to be amongst your people and feel safe. You see how when you're in the house with your cousins and your brothers, how you don't have to touch your jewelry because they're your family. Us as a nation, we're one family, man. We should feel like that amongst one another. We shouldn't have to hide our watch when we see black people walking down the road. No, man, we should be able to let them see that watch and they're supposed to say, yo, brother, that's a nice watch you got there, man. They ain't supposed to pull out a knife on us and say, take it off. They ain't supposed to say, take your chain off. They ain't supposed to steal our mobile phone and steal our car and so forth. The Lord don't want us to be a nation like that, man. Like you know that we've hit rock bottom when you see 10, 15 white men and you feel comfortable, man. Imagine you feel more comfortable around white people than your own people, man. That's how bad we treat each other, that a black man would rather walk through a white neighborhood with his jewelry on, knowing no one ain't going to rob him, than be in his own neighborhood, knowing everyone's going to rob him and so forth. Go ahead.
In thy heart, thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor.
And it says in any wise rebuke. Rebuke means what? Correct your neighbor, man. Who's your neighbor? Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, man. And you know how that's your neighbor? Because when all these things was written down, when Moses received these laws, who was there? Only us in the wilderness with him. Weren't no Chinese people there. Weren't no white people there. Just we was in the wilderness receiving these laws. And when he's talking about your neighbors, it was your fellow man, your fellow Israelite man, who all these laws was given to. These laws was only given to one race of people. Go ahead.
But sorry, and not offer sin upon him.
And not what?
Not offer sin upon him.
It says, and not suffer sin upon him. You ain't supposed to allow him to do wrong, man. You ain't supposed to allow him to do some madness, man. If you got a brother around you talking reckless, like, you know what? I think we should, he's got money, so let's rob him. Let's do this. Say to him, nah, man, that's your brother, man. Why are you gonna do that, man? Why are you gonna do that? With every action, there's a reaction. What you have to understand is this: you go and rob somebody, and then because we ain't got the right mind state that we're supposed to have, because you go and rob somebody, what happens? They come back around later on, man, and shoot up the whole neighborhood. It happened the other day, man. Some brothers did what? They went and I think they went and stabbed someone. Then they was bragging about it on the internet. Guess what happened the next day? The same brother that they stabbed came around in a car, fired some shots. One of them died, man. One of them died. And then now 4 men have been arrested and charged with murder. All because of what? We don't know how to deal with one another. If we did know how to deal with one another, the first man wouldn't have been stabbed. And then he wouldn't have no reason to retaliate. And this man wouldn't be shot to death. And then what the news do is the news put a spin on the story. They put a spin on the story, man, and demonize all the men, demonize the one that got stabbed, demonize the one that got shot, and demonize everybody else. Until now, it's when you read an article where a black man's been shot or stabbed, it's predictable what comments you're going to read from white people. What's the comments to say? They say things like,
send them all back home.
Yeah, exactly. Send them all back home. They're uncivilized. They say things like, oh, the usual suspects. That's what the white man says, the usual suspects. He calls us the usual suspects, meaning what? We're the usual ones doing the stabbing. We're the usual ones getting stabbed. And then they'll see a picture, and this is what they'll say. They'll see a brother's dead, and they'll say, oh, they'll put in brackets, I guess the news is going to say, there was a nice guy that used to take his kids to school and blah, 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 blah. Basically, what they're saying is, he was a criminal anyway. Who cares if he's dead? That's near enough what they're saying, man. And that's how they look at us. And this is why we need to hold ourselves to a higher standard, man.
That's right. Because
we way better than they could ever be. We should be saying these things about them, that they're uncivilized. We are civilized people, but we've just lost our footing along the way, man. Because we strayed from the Lord. We kind of went off path. We went off path, and then now what? Going off path led us to what? Murdering one another, the crime rate through the roof, doing harm to one another, robbing each other, dealing with each other unjustly. Go ahead.
Verse 18, thou shalt not avenge, nor bear any grudge.
Thou shalt what?
Thou shalt not avenge, nor bear any
And it says, thou
grudge.
shalt not avenge. Now, what does avenge mean? Avenge means to what? I'm sure it means inflict injury for a wrong. Pull up the word, the definition from avenge. It means to basically, something's been done wrong to you, and then you go and take vengeance. But I'm gonna pull up the definition for you clearly, because this is what black people like to do, avenge. This is us right here. We see it as if we don't get vengeance, we've been punked. That's how we see it, man. We see it as we, yeah, see, it says inflict harm in return for an injury or wrong done to oneself or another. And this is what we do. We like to avenge. So if someone does something to you, we go get that car, we go put false plates on the car, and we go drive around the neighborhood and shoot out that window, man. Because we like to what? Avenge. We like to inflict harm in return for injury or wrong done to oneself or another, man. And we learn these, and you know where we learn these things from mainly? Because the white man gives us movies like Boys in the Hood. So Ricky got shot, and then we see it as, nah, they can't do that to Ricky. And then the white man puts it in the movie. The doughboy goes and takes revenge. Doughboy goes and takes revenge. What happens? Doughboy goes to the burger spot, kills all of them. He's squeezing the trigger till no more bullets is coming out. And then these are the movies that they give us. And then black people think, yo, I'm a gangster. Black people think, yo, I'm doughboy. Listen, you watch all these movies. Watch Boys in the Hood. Every black man wants to be doughboy. So we go and what? Avenge, man. We go and take vengeance. That's what we go and do. We go take vengeance because it's the only thing we know. Because we don't know the ways of the Lord. So we think taking vengeance is the way. And then most of us grew up with no fathers. Most of us grew up with no fathers. So what do? Our role models is what? Men that we see in these movies. Our role models becomes what? The drug dealer that we see in our neighborhood. The pimp that we see in our neighborhood. Because that's the closest thing to a father figure that us as black people have. So we see that as a father figure. Then we see Doughboy as a father figure. And then we see it as, yo, Doughboy was a gangster, man. No one punked him. No one messed with him. And then that's in our mind that, you know what? Anyone does you wrong, they have to die. Whereas you watch Boys in the Hood, nobody wants to be, what's his name? Is his name Trey? Nobody wants to be Trey who gets out the car. Trey's looked at as Trey's amongst black people, Trey's looked at as a punk, right? Trey's looked at as a punk that didn't defend his friend, jumped out the car, and Doughboy's the man. And the white man puts those things in movies, and then it resonates with our mind like, this is how a man's supposed to be. And we think it makes us a man if we take vengeance and whatnot. And then I don't know if you read the little subtitles after Doughboy killed them. Guess what happened? It says 2 weeks later, Doughboy got gunned down. Have you read it when it says 2 weeks later, Doughboy died also? Listen, man, we need to live better amongst one another. And in that movie, the father was dropping some heavy knowledge on them. Do you see? He was dropping a bit of heavy knowledge on them. And then the same boys was dropping the knowledge on. Did you notice that the same boys was dropping the knowledge on is the same boys that shot Ricky? Yeah, see, it was the same ones. So I realized the other day because it come on TV, the same boys that he was talking to the gentrification about when he pulled up with hold on. I'm sure Ricky was there when he pulled up in it. Ricky was there with, yeah. I'm sure it's the same ones because in the end it's the same dark skin one that had on the hat that Doughboy shoots at the end. It's the same people, man. And this is why we all need to come together. All these ghettos, we all need to come together and understand, look, man, there's no point me fighting you because you're from down the road there. There's no point you fighting me because I'm from up the road. No, man, listen, man, we have one thing in common. We all slaves, man. We all sons of slaves. We all share the same father. And the thing is this, most of these opposing gang members all have the same interests, man. They all like the same things. They all listen to the same kind of music, which means if they spoke, they would actually get along. Right. If they spoke, they would actually get along. But obviously, we don't know how to speak, man. The same music he likes, you like. The same kind of women he likes, you like, man. Same things. We all like the same things. But because we don't speak, we wouldn't know that, man. All we know to do is get guns, get knives, kill one another. Yeah, there is. Kill one another. When it wouldn't be hard for us to get along because we all have the same common interests, man. And you know how I know we all have the same common interests. I'm gonna tell you how I know this, because I've spoke to people from both sides that all like the same things, man. And also, you know how I know we all have the same common interests, because when I'm in America, when we was in America, you got brothers from New York there, brothers from California there, and they all have the same interests, man. We all like our strong drink. We all like to sit down and talk. We all get along, man. And that's brotherhood. We all come from different places, and we all know how to agree with one another.
That's right.
Give me Karen reading Leviticus 19, 17. Yeah.
Leviticus 19 and 18. Thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy equal.
And it says, thou shalt not bear any grudge. What's a grudge? A grudge is what? Strong resentment for someone, man. You ain't supposed to have strong resentment for a black man. Like, you ain't supposed to be saying in your mind, oh, I just want that nigga dead. I can't stand him. You ain't supposed to have strong resentment. You ain't supposed to hold a grudge. If a brother does you wrong, you just be like, all right, then I ain't gonna. Now, does it mean you have to be silly and let him keep doing wrong to you? No, it don't, man. If a brother does you a wrong, you just don't mess around with him in that way again. Like, if someone says they're gonna do something for you and they don't do it, obviously you just don't put yourself in that position for them to do the same thing to you again, man. It don't mean you have to, go and kill them. Someone says they're gonna give you money this day, then later on they say, F you, I'm not giving you the money. You just know, okay, then next time they do ask you, you just say, no, I'm not. The last time you didn't give me, but I don't want nothing to do with you like that. Now, you're gonna come across people in life that you're not gonna get along with. You're gonna come across people in life that do your head in. How do I know? Because there's a ton of people that do my head in, man. A ton of them. Does it mean I hate them and resent them? No, man. Obviously, you just keep your distance and they keep their distance if you can't get along. Obviously, not everyone's spirit's the same. Some people are more this way, some people are more that way. So you're not going to get on with everyone. But it don't mean that what? You wish evil on them, you wish them ill will, you hold a grudge. Nah, man, none of that, man. You can love them and just not get along with them. It's just one of those things. Go ahead.
But thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
And it says, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Now, you see, the same way you want people to treat you, the same way you must treat your neighbor, man. You wouldn't want someone to listen. If you wouldn't want someone to kill your son, so you don't kill somebody else's son. You wouldn't want your mom to be crying and mourning for the rest of her life, so you don't be the reason why somebody else's mom is mourning for the rest of her life. You wouldn't want someone to rob your chain and watch, so you don't rob somebody else's chain and watch. Love your neighbor as yourself. Treat your neighbor how you want to be treated. And then if you apply this to your life, you would never treat a black man wrong. You know why? Because you would look at him how you look at yourself. You would look at him how you look at yourself. You wouldn't want someone to throw acid in your face. You don't throw acid in somebody else's face. And why? Because you're meant to love your neighbor as you love yourself. Now, don't listen to that Christian concept that you can't love yourself, and if you love yourself, you're vain. Listen, you should look after yourself, man. The same way you want people to respect you, you must respect others, man. I mean, you don't want someone to rob you. Why? Why don't you want someone to rob you? Because what? It's upsetting, right? It's going to upset you if someone robs you. So you don't rob somebody else, because surely you're going to upset them. And when you apply that to your life, and when you have that concept and think before you do anything in life, you'll become a better person and you'll treat people a lot better. And you won't harm nobody, because you wouldn't want nobody to harm you. But when you go around thinking it's one rule for you and you can do whatever to anybody, then you'll just end up stabbing someone else's child, end up killing someone, end up shooting someone. Go ahead. That's it. And Give me Exodus chapter 20 and verse 13. 20 and verse 13.
If you can add some
Yeah,
context
yeah,
up.
can.
Now, like, it's funny because like a lot of people that take someone else's life, when someone takes a life of their best friend, something, they're crying this
Yeah, exactly.
You do it all the time, man. Go out and have a
exactly right.
So
exactly.
that's probably they don't love their neighbor as themselves.
Exactly. You don't want someone to kill one of your boys. You don't kill somebody else's boy. That's how it goes, man. Obviously, if you've lost friends, you know how the pain and the hurt, and you've seen in the parents' face what they're going through, how they are at the funeral, passing out, can barely stand. You see that, and it breaks your heart. So you don't go and break somebody else's mom's heart. But what do? In rap songs, we talk about doing these things, man. In rap songs, we talk about, I'm gonna make his mom put on the black suit. That's what we talk about, man. When really, supposed to love one another, love your neighbor as you love yourself, and you'll go a lot further in life. Go ahead.
Exodus 20 and 13. Thou shalt not kill.
And the word kill there is murder. This is a commandment, man. Thou shalt not kill. But the reason we're killing, it seems like we don't know what the word kill means. So can you pull me up the definition of murder? Just for anyone who don't know, because it seems like at this rate that we're killing one another, I don't think we know what thou shalt not kill means. I don't think we know what murder means. So I'm going to pull up the definition for you.
The murder definition and awful premeditated killing of a human being by another.
So it's premeditated killing of a human being by another. Meaning what? You didn't just accidentally kill him. Like you didn't accidentally knock him over. You didn't accidentally crash a car. You didn't accidentally crash a car while he was in the passenger because you were speeding. Obviously, that right there, that's the accident. Even the white man knows that's an accident. But premeditated is you going with a knife, man. You going with a gun. You adjusting that balaclava before you go. You finding out his movements. You mapping out his movements, saying, you know what? He likes to drink at that bar. We wait for him to come out the bar and we spray him up. That's murder, man. That's premeditated. You saying, you know what? I'm going to roll with this knife because I can't stand him. And as soon as I see him, I'm going to shank him. That's how we talk down here. I'm going to shank him. It means to stab him. That's murder. That's premeditated. It says the unlawful, premeditated killing of one human being by another. Meaning you do harm to someone that they die and you premeditate it. You map it all out. You have your getaway car. Also, you have your petrol to burn your clothes. And then after the shooting, what did you do? Take a petrol bath. After you have your petrol bath ready, that's premeditated. The Lord told you, no, you can't do that. Read that again, Exodus 20 and 13.
In the book of Exodus 20 and 13, thou shalt not kill.
It says, thou shalt not kill, man. And that's what we do. We kill. We premeditate these attacks. We say, I'm going to circle and I'm going to look for a up. That's what we say. I'm going to circle and I'm going to look for a up. We calculate these things. We go out of our way trying to kill. That's it. And that give me John chapter 8 and verse 44. We premeditate these attacks, man. And then the white man proves you premeditate these attacks because he knows, man. You don't bring your phone with you. Listen, they check the satellites and they see when your phone last has activity. Listen, you see all these cases. I read all these cases, man. You see all these court cases. I read upon them. This is what they will do. You see this phone that it says 8 o'clock now. I commit a killing at 8:30. The white man was saying in court, you know what? His phone had no activity from 8 o'clock till 10 o'clock. And that's when it was out there doing the killing, because all these signals and all these satellites is how they track you and trace you and whatnot, man. They know it's premeditated. And black men think what? if I don't bring my phone with me, because my iPhone's got a tracker, I'm not going to get caught. They know your iPhone, it had no activity in them 2 hours while this person was being murdered. They link you to the crime, man. Then they have all the forensics. Listen, man. Black men, yeah, being a murderer is the white man's job. I don't know if you've watched the mafia programs, but the white man is excellent at killing you. You've seen some of them, right? And another thing with the white man, listen, he's got the money to pay off the police, because that's what Al Capone used to do. They used to pay off the police, pay off the politicians, pay off the IRS. They used to have the police and the politicians in their palm. There used to be people on witness protection, and Lucky Luciano used to phone the police and say, "You see that guy you got on witness protection? Just throw him out the window and need him dead before his trial." Listen, black man, you ain't in that position, man. You ain't got those links, man. You ain't got those links that the white man does have or did have. You don't know no one in the police force. The police hate you guts, not realizing real criminals work with police, and a real criminal is the white man. He's skilled in killing, man. He's more subtle than any beast of the field. He knows how to get away with these things, and you don't know how to get away with these things. You know why? Because the Lord don't want you to do these things. That's why you're not getting away with it, man. It's in the white man's nature to kill. Give me that scripture. Is blessed with the sword. It's Genesis. What was you holding?
John 8:44.
Yeah, we'll get John 8:44 after. Just give me. Is it Genesis? Is it 25, 27? Not 25, 27. 27, 20 something. And it will tell you. The reason black people don't get away with crime is because the Lord don't want you to be a criminal. It's that simple.
Yeah, Genesis 27 and the 39th verse. And Isaac, his father, answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth.
I said, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth. This was Esau receiving his blessings, because Esau sold his birthright, and he cried and howled and said, Father, you must have one blessing for me. Esau cried his eyes out like the white man often does, cries his eyes out like a baby. So now he's giving him his blessing. It shall be the fatness of the earth. This is where the right man runs everything. Go ahead.
And the dew of heaven from above, and by thy sword shalt thou live.
And by thy what?
By thy sword shalt thou live.
And the white man lives by his sword, man. He lives by rape, robbery, and murder, man. That's how he lives. He lives by killing. If you look at all these so-called Italian gangsters, they lived by what? By killing, man. Listen, this was, I watched it just recently. This was Al Capone's theory. Al Capone's theory was this: everybody's got a price. We're going to pay those police off. And then when the police didn't want to get paid, Al Capone's next step was, we're going to have to kill them then. The white man shall live by his what?
By the sword.
The white man shall live by the sword, man. His theory was either we're going to pay them off with the money, and if they don't accept it, we're going to kill them, man. Go ahead. And black people think they're the mafia. Mm-hmm. This is why every black man, what? His name, Lou Nicoleone. Give me some more. Mob James and who else is there? There's a ton of them. There's a Montana. Yeah, Montana. Listen, everyone's a Capone. Everyone's a Coleone. Listen, man, you're not a Coleone, man. You're not a Capone. And also, let me tell you another thing about the mafia. They even said nobody who's not Italian can join the mafia. So you can't be a mafia, man. By race, you can't be a mafia. Same way by race, they can't be one of us. By race, you can't be one of them, man. And you can't do the same things that they do. Nowadays, every black man is what? You got what? 3-6 Mafia, Murder Inc. Murder Inc. was yeah. And they had that Jewish guy. What was his name? Lepi. His name was something Lepe or Lepi. He was one of the most biggest killers, man. Some white Jewish man was a killer. Like when I say a killer, I'm talking about a real killer, man. This is what he would do. If you listen, he would kill if you was with him, he would kill a man in front of you, and because you're a witness to it and you're his friend, guess what he would do? He would kill you after, man, because he believed if there's no witnesses, there's no proof. Listen, man, black men, we want to be the mafia, we want to be Lucky Luciano, we want to be Vito Genovese, we want to be Bugs the Seagull. You even got a black man calling himself Bugs the Seagull now, even though Bugs the Seagull was a white man who they shot in the head. Who else do we want to be? Scarface is based off what Al Capone, right?
No, that's a Colombian. That's different.
I'm sure they're based off parts of it of Al Capone, or is that something totally different?
No, that's
because Al Capone's original nickname was what? Scarface, right? Because I remember he had the fight in the bar when the guy slashed his face.
Oh, yeah.
So the Al Capone's original name was what? Scarface. Who else is there? You had Frank Capone, his brother. Everybody wants to be these people, but it's not going to work out for you, man. You know why? Because the Lord don't want you to be like these people. The Lord don't want you to be the Lord don't want you to your name to be Tyrone Capone or Tyrone Corleone or the mafia or the mob. The Lord don't want you to be none of that, man. We try and follow white people when they're the real gangsters and the real mafia because they live by the sword. Go ahead. You can say, add something. Go ahead.
Because Italians don't like black people.
Exactly.
No secret.
Exactly. And speaking of that, man, I watched one of them documentaries of the mafia, and they beat the crap out of one black man. He was rich and had businesses. They beat the crap out of him and took all his businesses. And they said to him, "You ain't got the support behind you, so it's either you pack up or we're going to kill you and your whole family." And guess what that black man did? He had to pack up, man, because black people don't stick together. They just took all his businesses. Go ahead.
And by the sword shalt thou live.
And by the sword shall thou live. They live by the sword. It was given him to live by the sword. It was given him to be a killer and a murderer. It wasn't given you. You weren't supposed to live that way. Is there any more on that? Yeah, give me John chapter 8 and verse 44.
John chapter 8 and verse 44. Ye are of your father, the devil.
And listen, man, any black man that picks up a knife or a gun or any weapon to go harm and murder another black man, they're of their what?
Of their father, the devil.
You're of your father, the devil, meaning what? Your father's the white man, because you know who your father is. The same man in the garden that murdered his brother, man.
That's right.
If you murder your brother, you ain't no different to your father that murdered his brother in the garden. You ain't no different to your father in the garden that what? That Cain that done that what? Premeditated attack on his brother, man. He had that planned out, man. You ain't no different to him if you unlawfully kill your brother. That's your father, man, because that's who you follow. It doesn't literally mean he's your father. This is basically is basically checking them, saying, "Yo, you're behaving like the white man. The white man's your father." It's like me calling you a son of a what's it called? You're not really that, but I'm just relating that to you because that's how you're behaving. So they was behaving like the white man. So he's saying, "Listen, that's your father." Same like we want to behave like the white man, the mafia, the mob. You're of your father if you want to behave that way. Who's the white man? Go ahead.
And the lust of your father ye will do.
Says the lust of your father you will do, man. And the lust of their father the lust of Cain was what? To do evil, man. Lust is what? Like a strong desire.
That's right.
Lust is a strong desire. And nowadays we have a strong desire to kill one another. We have a strong desire to murder and rob one another. And the lust of your father you would do. And this was the lust of the white man. Who robs more than him? Nobody, man. And he's your father because you want to just be just like him. Who kills more than him? No one. So he's your father because you want to be just like him. And the lust of your father ye would do, man. The lust of your father you would do. And the lust of the white man is what? To murder, to rob, to steal, to destroy, to kill. That's his lust, man. He has strong desire to do all things against God. And when you murder, that's you doing things against God. Go ahead.
He was a murderer from the beginning.
He was a what?
He was a murderer from the beginning.
Says he was a murderer from the beginning. And Genesis, that's the beginning, man. He was a murderer from the beginning. He was a murderer from the book of Genesis, man. From the book of Genesis, he was a murderer. What is it? Genesis, the 4th chapter. He was a murderer from Genesis, the 4th. Listen, he's been a murderer from creation barely got started, man. Soon as he's been here, he's been murdering. He was a murderer from Genesis, the 4th chapter, man. That's why Christ said he was a murderer from the beginning. Go ahead.
And abode not in the
and he abode not in the truth, because at one time Cain was meant to be doing the right thing, but what happened? Cain wanted to give the Lord vegetables, man. He abode not in the truth. Cain wanted to give the Lord what? Cucumbers and salad and all that kind of nonsense. Cain wanted to give the Lord broccoli and carrots and so forth. He abode not in the truth, man. Go ahead. Which means he was trying to rob God from then, man. From then he was trying to rob God. Go ahead.
Because there was no truth in him.
Because there was no truth in him from the beginning, man. He was a son of Adam, and the Lord did what? Breathed the breath of life into Adam, meaning he gave what? Adam law, statutes, and commandments. God gave Adam law, statutes, and commandments. That's what he gave to Adam. And what did Adam do? Adam taught these things unto his kids. And how do you know Adam taught these things unto his kids? Because what? Adam was what? A husbandman, right? Adam was a husbandman. And then Cain was a tiller of the ground, which is near enough the same thing. And where did Cain learn to till the ground from? From his father. But Cain decided what? He weren't going to keep no laws. And he was going to be unrighteous. And he didn't want to abide in the truth from the beginning. He wanted to be evil and wicked from the beginning. That's the white man's portion, to be evil and wicked and not to do what God requires. But it's not your portion for you to do that. You have to serve God. Because obviously, you know why you have to serve God? Because clearly the mafia is not working out for you, man. Clearly you thinking you're Italian and Lucky Luciano, it ain't working out for you, man. No way it ain't working out for you. Because you ain't even made $250,000 yet, man. You ain't made $250,000 yet, man. You sell drugs, make about 20 grand and go jail for 10 years, man. Which means what? If you just stayed normal and got a normal job and worked in McDonald's, by the time you come out of jail after 10 years, you would have had way more money than the money you made selling drugs, which is dumb. You don't want to listen. When you have your freedom, just listen to this. When you have your freedom, you don't want to work for Prussia. When they have their freedom, they don't want to work for £8-9 an hour. But they go to jail and they don't mind working for £2 a week. They don't mind working for £2 a week. That don't make no sense, man. You don't mind working in jail for about £2 a day, should I say? £2 a day. Whereas you could be out here with your freedom, working for £8-9 an hour. It defeats the purpose. I've never understood that. And why do we sell drugs? Because we want to drive the nicest cars, the nicest clothes, the nicest this, the nicest that. Listen, man, I'd rather not have the nicest stuff and have my freedom, man.
That's right.
Freedom's nice, man. And obviously, when I say freedom, we're still slaves. I'm just talking about not in some cell for the whole day. I'm talking about not having some damn white man telling me when I can go toilet, when I must line up for my breakfast. I like to go downstairs in my kitchen at 3 a.m. sometimes, man. I don't want to be sitting in some cell where I can't even stretch my legs, man. No. Or because what? I wanted to keep up with the latest trends. No, man. Selling drugs ain't for black people. Because you don't last long selling drugs, man. It's because you know why you don't last long selling drugs? Because the Lord's teaching you a lesson that selling drugs ain't for you.
That's right.
Leave selling drugs to the white man, because clearly you're not good at it. Clearly you ain't good at selling drugs, because it just doesn't work out for you. And this is why you get 10 years in jail. Because what? You wanted to sell drugs to impress the women. Them same women that you're trying to impress, when you're in jail for 10 years, they're cheating on you, man.
That's right.
When you're in jail, they're sleeping with somebody else. They write your letters for the first 2 years of your sentence. And then guess what happens? Everybody forgets that you exist. You come out of jail. making it some big spectacle, thinking everyone's going to be outside the prison gates with a bottle of champagne for you. Nobody cares when you come out, man. This is why just come in the truth and serve God where people do care about you, man.
That's right.
Where people put money on your books if you go to jail, man. And in here, you wouldn't be going to jail because you ain't going to be doing nothing wrong, no criminal activities. I'm not saying you won't go to jail because even Paul went to jail, but I'm on about you ain't going to be going to jail for being no drug dealer, for being no murderer, for being no criminal. Go ahead. Was there any more on that?
When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own.
And when the white man speaketh a lie, he speaks of his own, man. Because he's the father of lies, man. And all he does is tells lies. Everything he does is lies, man. When he tells a lie, he speaks of his own, man. He's a liar, and he lies about everything. Go
ahead. For he is a liar and the father of it.
But he is a liar and the father of it. He's the biggest liar on the face of the earth, man. The white man, and seems like we want to copy his ways. He's the father of it, man. Let him do that. That's him. We ain't supposed to be like them. But if I could give me Mark chapter 12 and verse 29. You got a question? Go ahead. No, sir. Is like what you're doing in court. The Bible says what? Don't swear near heaven nor earth. Pull that one for me in Matthew. Like in court, they make you what? Swear on the Bible. Listen, the white man swears on the Bible all the time, and he lies. He lies, man. One time way before the truth, when I went to court, they made me swear on the Bible, and I lied and lied and lied. I put my hand on it and I lied and lied and lied. Everyone lies, but we ain't meant to do none of that. We just let our yea be yea and our nay be nay. If the white man don't believe it, okay, don't believe it. But when you start saying, I swear on God, on this, on that, it just makes you look silly.
I got it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Matthew 5 and the 33rd verse. Again, ye have heard that it have been said by them of old time, thou shalt not forswear thyself, but shalt perform unto the Lord thy oaths.
Listen, man. That's what you do, man. Listen, whether the white man don't believe, like what do you have to prove to him that you must put your hand on the Bible and say, I swear. And who cares about what he wants you to do? And go ahead. Did you say something?
Yeah, the next verse.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Verse 34. But I say unto you, swear not at all.
Do what?
Swear not at all.
And when it says swear, it don't mean like the F word. That's what people say it means, right? People say it means F word. It's like you just begging and pleading. You got the biblical definition of it. Do you know what the biblical definition of it?
Of I swear.
Yeah. Okay. Get me that biblical definition of it. If it brings up the right one.
Yeah. Swear the definition to make a solemn statement or undertaking to do something or affirming that something is the case. Listen,
man, that's like we ain't meant to do all that. What's it? Let your yea be yea and your nay be nay.
That's right.
That's it. Just keep it simple. You know those people that overdo it. Don't be one of those people that overdo it, saying, "Cause I swear I'm gonna give you the money next week. On my kid's life, I didn't take the money. I swear to God, I didn't take the money." When you start doing all of that, everyone just looks at you like you're silly and whatnot. Anyone that?
But I say unto you, swear not at all, either by heaven, for it is God's throne, nay, nor by the earth, for it is his footstool, either by Jerusalem, For it is the city of the great king.
Exactly. Read on.
But let your communication be yea, yea, nay, nay.
Let your communication be yay, yay, and nay, nay. You don't have to overdo it to explain yourself and whatnot. You don't have to overdo it. Just let your yays be yay. Did you do it? No, didn't. That's it. Did you do it? No. Yeah, you gotta say no. On my kid's life, I didn't do it. Listen, I got a cousin. She robs everybody, and she's forever swearing. On my kid's life, I wouldn't steal blah 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 blah. When there was only her in the room. Listen, unless the money just had got legs and walked off. Let your yay be yay and your nay be nay, man. When you start to overdo it, people look at you like you're a liar. Just keep it brief. Go ahead. I think there's a next line.
For whatsoever is more than these, evil.
So yeah, just keep it brief. Go ahead.
You have heard.
Is the next part where it says because you can't make one hair on your head grey and. I'm sure this is that scripture.
That's Matthew 6.
It's not this one, no.
I don't see it at the moment.
All right, then, no sweat. It's not here.
Yeah, got it. So
Yeah.
verse 36.
Yeah, go ahead.
Either shalt thou swear by thy head, because thou canst not make one hair white or black.
Listen, man. There's no point you swearing by anything because really you don't hold no weight. Let your yay be yay and your nay be nay. Because through you doing all this swearing and over exaggerating yourself, guess what? The outcome's going to be what the Lord wants it to be, man. So you can just keep it simple. Let your yay be yay and your nay be nay. By you overdoing it, it's not going to change the outcome. The Lord, listen. If you go to court, whether you put your hands, your feet, and your head on this, if the Lord wants you to, if the Lord sees it fit that all right, you're going to get a guilty, you're going to get a guilty. If you don't put your hand on it at all, and the Lord sees wants you to get a not guilty, you're going to get a not guilty. Either way, whether you put your hands and feet on this, the white man's still the devil that sees you guilty anyway.
That's right.
So just let your yay be yay and your nay be nay, because the white man is the devil who sees you guilty anyway. So whether you swear and cry your eyes out in court and say, I swear on my kid's life, I swear on my mom's life, he still sees you guilty, whether you put your hand on it and swear, whether you refuse to put your hand on it, whether you just say I didn't do it, he still sees you guilty either way. So you can just save yourself the time. You can shorten your trial just by saying, letting your yay be yay and your nay be nay, instead of being in the courtroom for 4 hours just to go to jail anyway. So yeah, the sooner you go to jail, the sooner you'll be out. So the sooner you go, the sooner you'll be out. So just let your yay be yay and your nay be nay. Any more on that? Yeah. Does that answer your question? What verse was we at? Was it Mark?
Was that Mark
12 and 29?
Yeah, Mark 12 and 29. And Yahushua answered him, the first of all the commandments is, hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord.
So the first of all the commandments is, hear, O Israel. Now he's talking to Israel right here, man. Christ speaking to blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. The first commandment is, hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one. Go ahead.
Verse 30, and thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul.
It says you love him with all your heart and all your soul. Christians believe that this means what? That you love God by listening to gospel music every day, eating pork, because they think God gave them pork to eat. They think them loving God is just lip service and doing all manner of evil. That's their terminology of loving God. Go ahead. So like the way you love God is what? Keeping his commandments. People outside of the truth make out like you and God have a romantic relationship where you light candles, sit in the bath with candles, listening to gospel, sit in the bath talking to God all day. Listen, that's not how you love God, man. People think they love God by saying, yeah, my sweet Jesus, my sweet Jesus. Listen, you don't love him like that. It's not no relationship like that. The relationship is this. You just obey him. That's how you love him. Just do what he says. That's it. Go ahead. And another thing, the Israelites, They didn't even want to deal with God direct. They said, Moses, you speak to him for us, man. They just understood, you know what? We'll just keep the laws and you speak to him. They understood the relationship is, we're just going to keep the laws. That's how it should be. All this, my personal relationship with God, like God texts you on the weekend. It don't work like that. That's a lie that we've been taught over time. Go ahead.
And with all thy mind, and with all thy strength,
and with all your mind, everything you do, man. Before you do everything, think, am I doing the right thing or am I doing the wrong thing? Before you do everything, think, what does this, what says this according to the law? With all your mind, man. Have all that in your mind, with all your soul, with all your might. Go ahead.
This is the first commandment.
This is the first commandment, man. That you obey God, keep his laws, statutes, and commandments. Go ahead.
And the second is like, namely this, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
And we told you earlier, you love your neighbor as yourself. You don't harm him because you wouldn't want someone to harm you. That's pretty self-explanatory. You help him out because if you was in need, you'd want somebody to help you. He's poor, you help him because if you was poor, you'd want someone to help you. That's how we're meant to deal with one another. Go ahead.
There is none other commandment greater than these.
There's no other commandment greater than these, man. Because if you keep these two, people think this just means there's two commandments. It's not. Right here, this is the whole law summed up in these commandments, meaning what? If you love God, you're going to keep all the laws pertaining to God. If you love your neighbor, you're going to keep all them laws pertaining to him, meaning you're not going to kill him, you're not going to sleep with his wife, you're not going to rob him. All of these things is in when it says love your neighbor, that's how you love your neighbor, by keeping laws towards him. How you love God is keeping God's laws. So that's what it means. It don't mean just love with lip service, and these are the only two commandments. These two commandments is the whole law summed up in bullet pointed into. That's what it's talking about. I'll get that for you afterwards. Go ahead. What verse you got?
I'm at the 32nd verse.
Yeah, go ahead.
And the scribe said unto him, well, after thou hast said these, for there is one God, and there is none other but he, and to love him with all thy heart, and with all thy understanding, and with all of thy soul, and with all of thy strength, and to love his neighbor as himself, is more than all whole burnt offerings and sacrifices.
Exactly, man. Doing that is better than burnt offerings and sacrifices. Because why would you give a sacrifice? Because what you done wrong, right? Obviously, if you do right, you wouldn't have to give a sacrifice. So you keeping the law is better than you giving sacrifices. That's what that's talking about. It's same like saying what prevention's better than cure. Same like saying prevention's better than cure, man. Listen, man, you better off preventing being a heroin addict than taking methadone, man. You're better off preventing it by not being one in the first place. Prevention is better than cure. But give me Romans, I think it's Romans 12 and 19, or it's Romans 13 and 7, one of them. Prevention is better than cure, man. That's what we should, that's what we need to know, that preventing something is better than cure. There's other ways to deal with one another than stabbing someone. There's other ways to deal with one another than murdering them. There's other ways to deal with people. Go ahead.
The book of Romans 12 and 19, dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves.
There you go. This is saying avenge not yourselves. And we told you that avenge means to what? Take vengeance on someone for someone doing you wrong. The Bible says avenge not yourselves, meaning don't take things into your own hand. Don't think you're doughboy jumping in the car. Go ahead.
But rather give place unto wrath. For it is written, vengeance is mine.
And vengeance is the Lord's. So if a brother does you a wrong, you don't need to go and deal with him, because vengeance is the Lord's. And if he's done you a wrong, which is so bad, and the Lord sees it as, yo, he's dealt with him bad, and he don't repent and whatnot, obviously the Lord will take vengeance, man, because vengeance is the Lord's. It's not for you to take vengeance. You know why? Because when you take vengeance on someone else, the Lord should take vengeance on you for all the wrongs that you've done. The same way a brother's done you a wrong, you do the Lord wrong every single day, man. Every single day you do the Lord wrong, man. So it's wrong for you to what? To jump the gun and go kill a man because he's done you a wrong. Guess what? The Lord ain't killed you, so you shouldn't go kill somebody else. Same way you're trying to get right, you should give that brother a chance to get right. By you taking his life, you don't even give him a chance to get right. So we ain't supposed to be like that. Go ahead.
Vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord.
And the Lord said he will repay. The Lord ain't saying you should go and take vengeance and repay yourself. The Lord said he will repay, man. And when the Lord repays for someone doing a wrongdoing, is obviously you don't need to do it, because the Lord will repay. When you go and repay yourself, what happens? You go jail for 30 years, man. You go jail for the rest of your life. The Lord will repay, and you wouldn't have done no wrong, because obviously you didn't take vengeance on yourself. Go ahead.
Like, one thing in life, you know, when the Lord repays someone, you see, like, you know what, that was the Lord.
Exactly,
So
you see it.
You see, it's evident when it happens.
Exactly. You see it, man. If they don't get right, obviously the Lord's gonna repay, man. All the wrong people's done to you. If they don't get right, the Lord will repay, man. Do you think the Lord don't see all the wrongdoings that people do to you? The Lord sees it, man. So you don't need to go out and harm a hair on nobody's head, because the Lord will repay. Now, does that mean if you're on the street and someone approaches you to rob you, you don't defend yourself? Defend yourself, man. Of course you defend yourself. But avenge means what? You go out your way to take vengeance. Now, if someone punches you in the face in the street, obviously you defend yourself, man. Don't just stand there and turn the other cheek thinking that's what it means. Ain't talking about that, man. You defend yourself, man. You're allowed to defend yourself. You don't have to stand there and be nobody's punching bag. Don't be somebody's punching bag. Give me Romans chapter 13 and verse 7.
Romans 13 and 7. Render therefore to all their dues.
Read that again.
Render therefore to all their dues, tribute whom tribute is due.
Go ahead.
Fear whom fear, and honor to whom honor.
Honor to whom honor. Go ahead.
Verse 8. Owe no man anything but to love one another.
It says, oh no man anything but to love one another. Meaning deal with one another right for once, man. Deal with one another right for once. Go ahead.
For he that loveth another have fulfilled the law.
He that loveth another have fulfilled the law. Now people read that and stop there. People read that and say, well, I love him, I fulfilled the law. How do you love him if you're stabbing him, man? How do you love him if you're shooting him and robbing him? And he that loveth another has fulfilled the law, because what? You loving your brother means you're not going to do no harm, nothing wrong to break the law. You ain't going to break no laws against them, because love is keeping the law. And it tells you that in 1 John, one of them. That, what is it, 1 John 2 and 15? One of them.
1 John
5 and 3, one of them, yeah. It tells you what love is, man. Love is keeping the commandments. So once you understand that love is keeping the commandments, you understand you can't rob black people no more. Well, you shouldn't be robbing anyone. You can't shoot people no more. You can't stab people no more. You can't be selling crack and heroin no more. Because if you truly love your neighbor, why do you want to see him strung out on drugs, having heroin overdoses, if you truly love your neighbor? Go ahead.
Verse 8. For this thou shalt not commit adultery.
So now it's telling you how you love your neighbor. You shouldn't what?
Commit adultery.
Meaning what? You don't see that's his woman, and you just say, you know what, forget him. This is what people do nowadays. To see another man's woman at the club, say, no, you're dating so. Oh, forget him, he's a waste man. And take my number and come see me. Come on, I'll buy you a drink and blah 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 blah. Obviously, if you love your neighbor, you wouldn't do that because you'd understand that's his woman. And there's so much women in the world that you don't even need his woman, man. There's so much women in the world. Go get your own woman, man. Why you think the Lord's put so much women on the earth, man? For you to get your own one, man. Go ahead.
Thou shalt not ill killed.
Thou shalt what?
Thou shalt not ill.
Says thou shalt not kill. If you love your neighbor, you're not gonna murder him. That's what that's talking about. Go ahead.
Thou shalt not steal.
And listen, you ain't supposed to rob either. All these is laws on how to deal with one another. Go ahead.
Thou shalt not bear false witness.
And thou shalt not bear false witness, man. Meaning what? You claimed you witnessed something that you didn't. Someone ain't stole something, but you saying, you know what? He stole it. I saw him steal it. That's you bearing false witness. People think bearing false witness is what calling them a slur. It's not calling. Bearing false witness ain't calling someone out their name. You're just calling them that because you're trying to offend them. Obviously, you want to disrespect them. That's all that is. Bearing false witness is what? You claiming you witnessed something that you didn't witness. Bearing false witness is what? You being in court, taking the stand, saying, I seen him shoot that man, knowing damn right you didn't see him shoot nobody. That's you bearing false witness. In court, they call it what? What do they call it in court? Is it contentment of? I can't remember what they call it. They call it something in court.
Or they call it
Yeah, something along the lines. Yeah, when you bear false witness. Go ahead.
Thou shalt not covet.
Thou shalt not covet, man.
And if there be any other commandment.
And if there be any what?
Other commandment.
And he's named a few, and he goes, if there be any other commandment, ones that you'll find all in the law. Go ahead.
It is briefly comprehended in this.
And he says all these things that it said, all the laws is briefly comprehended in this. So you see all these things when it says love the Lord and love your neighbor, it's comprehended in this, meaning what? It's all summed up in this next line that is about to say. This is what it's all comprehended in. Go ahead.
Namely, thou shalt love thy neighbor.
So there you go, man. That's how you love your neighbor. All them things which Paul just stated. Don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. This is all comprehended in this. Thou shalt love thy neighbor. So everywhere you see in the Bible where it says love your neighbor, it's talking about keeping laws towards him. And all these laws here is comprehended in this saying, thou shalt love thy neighbor. So when people read thou shalt love thy neighbor, people read it as just love your neighbor. And it just means to love your neighbor, which means to love your neighbor, which makes no sense. Like, we need to know how to love our neighbor. That's the whole point. How do we love our neighbor? Because in church for too long, they haven't been teaching us how to love our neighbor. But this is how you love your neighbor. You keep the laws towards him. Go ahead.
As thyself, love worketh no ill to his neighbor.
Love worketh no ill will to his neighbor. You know what ill will is to your neighbor? Robbing him, shooting him, taking his woman, treating him like garbage, all of those kind of things. Love, don't do those things to their neighbor. So if you want to know if you love your neighbor or not, you wouldn't do those things to them. You wouldn't deal with them the way you deal with them, like they're barely human. If you loved your neighbor, you wouldn't deal with them like that. Go ahead.
Therefore, love is the fulfilling of the law.
So it says love is the fulfilling of the law. And we just said what love is, keeping all the commandments. Now, if we had that love one towards another, the murder rate wouldn't be so high. Some people that I went to school with would still be alive now. Some people that I went to school with would not be in jail right now, because love is the fulfilling of the law. But obviously, we don't know how to love one another. Go ahead. Is there anyone that was that it?
No.
That's it. Yeah, give me Malachi chapter 2 and verse 10.
Malachi 2 and 10. Have we not all one other?
Have we what?
Have we not all one Father?
Says, have we not all one Father, man? And all us black and Hispanics, we have one Father. So how we deal with our brothers and sisters, the way we deal with them, we all have one Father, man. Go ahead.
Have not one God created us?
Have what?
Have not one God created us?
Go ahead.
Why do we deal treacherously every man against his brother?
Says, have not one God created us? Why do we deal treacherously every man against his brother? And the word treacherous means what? Betray one another.
That's right.
And listen, don't nobody betray one another like we do, man. We've become horrible to one another. We betray one another. We set our fellow brother up, man, for somebody else to come and rob him. We'll say, yeah, meet me at this spot. And then before he knows, a gang of masked men come and rob him. Because we deal treacherous with one another. We betray one another. And then while we betray one another, guess what we do? We love these East Indians. Especially in the UK, you see them black men that roll with only East Indians. They love them, man. They would never betray them, though. But they betray one another. We deal treacherous with one another. We deal with one another like we ain't got the same one Father. Like we ain't all from the same one God. We deal treacherous against our brother, man. Go ahead, read that from the top.
Have we not all one Father? Have not one God created us? Why do we deal treacherously every man against his other?
Why do we betray one another? You know why we betray one another? For a lack of knowledge, man, and we don't know who we are.
That's right.
Don't know where we're coming from. Nowadays, we don't even know who's our brother. Listen, we done gone so far. We done gone so far off that before the truth, when we used to read the Bible and read neighbor, we just thought it was our next door neighbor, the person that lives next door. We thought the neighbor was the East Indian man that lives next door. Before we knew the truth, that's how far off we gone. That we thought the neighbor was our neighbors that live on the same road as us. That's what we thought, man. Even before the truth, people understood that what? Your neighbor was someone close by, which lets you know even they understood that everyone wasn't their neighbor. Because we just thought it was what? People that just lived on your road. Which lets you know how far off we've gone. Your neighbor is your fellow black man. Go ahead. Anyone know, is that about it?
That's it.
Give me 1 John chapter 4 and 20. No, sir. Oh yeah, you know that you know those people stole our idea in it. They got their barbecue right up there now. You seen it? They got that from us. They did.
Right.
1 John chapter 4 and verse 20.
1 John 4 and the 20th verse. If a man say, I love God, and hates his other.
So it says, if a man says, I love God, and hates his brother, go ahead.
He is a liar.
He's a what?
A liar.
Everyone claims they love God. Listen, all these people doing the killings is what? Christians and Muslim.
That's right.
The so-called Christian and Muslim. Every Eid, you see them with their little kufi. Christian ones have the biggest cross pendant. They have a diamond cross. Have a what is it? A Jesus piece. Have a diamond Jesus piece. And these is the ones doing all the killing and selling all the drugs. They claim that they say they love God. They say they love God so much that they pay for a diamond Jesus piece. A diamond Jesus piece. You know those ain't cheap. You see some diamond Jesus with VVS real diamonds. I'm talking real expensive diamonds in that Jesus piece. And these ones is the same people selling heroin to everybody, selling crack to everybody. But they say they love God. Go ahead. Sorry, it's gone down.
Yeah,
What's it? YouTube as well?
No,
Just the Facebook. That's it. But yeah, it says, if a man says he loves God but hates his brother, what does the word hate mean? Hate means what? To detest someone, to dislike greatly, so forth, to want bad for. That's what that's talking about. Okay, go ahead.
For he that loveth not his other.
And we showed you what love was in the last verse, how you love one another. It's how you keep the commandments towards them. That's what love is according to the Bible. That's how you love one another.
For he that loveth not his other who he have seen.
He that don't love his brother who he has seen. Like, you see your brother every day. Why do you see him every day? Because you live in the ghetto just like him, man. You're in the struggle just like him. You go through the same things he goes through. You see your brother every day. Go ahead.
How can he love God who he have not seen?
So if you don't love something that you see, how can you love something that you don't see? You show that you love God by loving your brother, man. By how you deal with your brother shows that you love God, man. And this is why it's weird to me when people say, "Oh, I'm not listening to no one. I listen to Jesus himself. I listen to Christ himself." Listen, man. Christ ain't here right now, so he's left men in charge. If you don't listen to them men that is left in charge, you wouldn't listen to him if he was here either.
That's right.
So by you being in subjection to the men that are left in charge, shows that you would be in subjection to him. But if you don't even want to do that, it shows that if he was here, you wouldn't listen to him also, man. Go ahead.
Verse 21. And this commandment we have from him, that he who loveth God loveth his brother also.
Exactly. You can't just say you love God and hate your people. No, man. You show you love God by loving your people. That's how you show that you love God. You can't say, "Oh yeah, I love God," but then you hate your brother, but then you want to kill him, murder him. No, it don't work like that. You show that you love God by loving your brother. It's that simple, straight up and down. Go ahead. Get them on that. Give me 1 John chapter 3 and verse 11.
1 John 3 and 11. For this is the message that ye heard from the beginning, that we should love one another.
That we should what?
Love one another.
This is the message that you heard from the beginning. If you followed this message from the beginning that you heard, the murder rate would drop all the way down. The drug dealing rate would drop all the way down. The hatred we have for one another would drop all the way down. If we heard this message from the beginning, go ahead.
Verse 12. Not as Cain, who was of that wicked one.
Not as who?
As Cain.
And Cain was of that wicked. Cain was that wicked one, and Cain didn't hear that message. Cain's father taught him the message, but he didn't want to follow the message. Same like Esau was taught and didn't want to follow. He gave his birthright for one morsel of meat. He said, What does this profit me? So forth. Go ahead.
Not as Cain, who was of that wicked one, and slew his brother.
And we ain't meant to be like Cain, who is of that wicked one. We ain't meant to be like Cain, who murders our people, man. That's not how we ain't a people like that. Like, when you look at it, we ain't really a barbaric people. We've learned all this from the white man, and we're still not as barbaric as him. Because if you look at what with black people, we kill one another, but it's wrong. But with black people, you know what to expect. They're gonna what? Shoot you or stab you. With the white man, what would they do? Kidnap you, cut your arms off, cut your head off, bury you in the woods, set you on fire, tie you up. That's what they do. Black people don't really do that. With black people just shoot you and go about their business. The white man will kidnap you for 40 years and torture you and leave you in a house and cut your arm off limb by limb and dismember you and all of those things. And this is why in these white suburb areas, like, honestly, when you look up all these rippers, they're all white, ain't it? Jack the Ripper. What's the next one's names? Ted Bundy. All of these is white men that have a strong desire for to kill and whatnot. These is white men. Black people ain't that barbaric. Like with black men, you kind of know what to expect. They're just gonna shoot and stab you. Whereas the white man, he go all the way left. Go ahead.
Now, it's funny that you said that because like with black people, it's wicked, but their crimes make sense.
Exactly.
They ain't got no money. They're about someone who has money.
Exactly.
While as a white man, he does it because he felt like to. Like,
exactly.
His urge and his sensation wanting to go kill someone. Like, wow, like, that's something different.
Exactly. Like with black people what grow up in horrible conditions, horrible conditions. So what, we just grow up a little disruptive, grow up robbers, drug dealers. But the white man, what does he do? Because he's grew up in a so-called horrible condition, he goes and shoots up his cinema, he goes and shoots up his school, he goes and makes everybody feel what he's been through, he goes and kills everybody. Whereas black people, for the most part, we just get on with it. Like, black people are so used to losing jobs that we lose jobs so much, we're like, oh, I knew it was coming. Whereas the white man loses his job, what does he do? Loads up his pistol and goes to the job and kills everyone on the job. Because he's lost his job, nobody can't have a job in that place. Because they're barbaric. We ain't like them. But, go ahead.
Wherefore he slew him, because his own works were evil.
And he did what?
Wherefore he slew him.
And this is Cain, man, killed his brother because his own works were evil and because the Lord didn't accept his sacrifice. So he killed Abel because he's angry at his own doings. And this is what the white man does when he shoots up the cinemas. He's angry, so someone else has to feel his pain, he has to kill them. Same way Cain done it to Abel. Everybody in the cinema that wants to watch the Batman movie has to die because this man is angry. Same like Jack the Ripper. Everybody has to die because what? He's angry. Same like one of them is. Did you watch that one with that one when his mom treated him bad, so he just went around killing loads of women because his mom treated him bad? Yeah, I've seen a ton of them. Because his mom treated him bad, every woman has to die now. Listen, man, black people, we grow up bad and we don't take it out on the whole world. We just deal with it, man. Because we ain't got the same nature as the white man where him. He just deals with everything like a crybaby. And everybody has to die and feel his pain. Whereas with us, we just get on with it, man. Go ahead, on that.
Because his own works were evil.
So because his own works is evil, everybody has to die. Why? He could have just corrected his works and made his works good, man. But no, everyone has to die. Go ahead. On that, or is that about
and it? His brothers righteous.
And his brothers righteous. We shouldn't be like Cain. No, I'm not saying that our brothers out there, I'm not saying that what they're doing is righteous. It's not righteous. It's unrighteous. Like I said, every action has a reaction. So most people is avenging themselves, and that's why there's laws and not to avenge yourself. Because people are going to do you wrong, and you need to know how to deal with somebody doing you wrong. Anyone that? Go ahead.
We know that we have passed from death unto life.
We have passed from death unto life. Meaning what? There's one stage we was running around reckless, doing all of that nonsense, sinning, and it says the wages of sin is death. We abode in death when we were sinning. Go ahead.
Because we love the brethren.
And we've abode from death into life because we was evil before towards our brothers, and now we love our brothers, and that's life, man. Go ahead.
He that loveth not his brother abide in death.
He that don't love his brother abides in death. And it says the wages of sin is death, and you not loving your brother means obviously you're a sinner and you're sinning against him, and you abide in death because one day the time's going to come when you're going to die for it, for you harming your brothers and whatnot and ill treating them. Go ahead.
Whosoever hateth his other is a murderer.
Whoever what?
Whosoever hateth his other is a murderer.
And if you hate your brother, you're a murderer. Meaning you're thinking about doing, even if you ain't killed him, but it's in your mind that you want him, you want to harm him and you want to see him do bad, and you're basically a murderer, man. You know why? Because by you thinking these things, the day is going to come when one day you're going to be like, you know what? It's time for me to rid the earth of him, man. The time's going to come when one day you're going to be like, you know what? It's time for him to die, man. It's time for him to die. The time's going to come, man, when you're like that. All that stored hatred is going to build up one day. All the anger is going to build up one day. Most of these murders don't just happen overnight. It's what premeditated, meaning it's been on your mind for a while, man. It's been on your mind for a while. And basically, before you commit the murder, you're already a murderer because you're already mapping it out and whatnot. Go ahead.
And ye know that no murderer have eternal life abiding in him.
And no murderer don't have no eternal life abiding in him. No murderer ain't gonna be living good, man. No murderer ain't gonna be in the kingdom ruling, calling shots. No murderer ain't gonna have that privilege, man. No murderer don't have eternal life abiding in him. And a murderer doesn't deserve eternal life, man. So that's what it's saying. That's what it's saying. No murderer has eternal life abiding in him. So the thing is, don't hate your brother because it's just going to lead you to what one day want to kill him and want to murder him. Anyone that is that right? Yeah. Colossians chapter 3 and verse 12.
The book of Colossians 3 and verse 12. Put on therefore as the elect of God, holy and beloved, bowels of mercies, kindness.
Put on mercy, man. Learn to extend mercy. Learn to understand, you know what? That brother right there, he ain't in his right mind. Don't worry, he's just mad at the world because, you know, the way we've been raised, and he's just angry at the world. Don't worry, it's nothing personal to me. Let me just turn a blind eye to it. Go ahead.
The kindness, humbleness of mind.
Put on kindness, man. Be kind and affectionate towards your brothers, man. Be kindly affectionate towards one another. Deal with each other righteously, man. Deal with each other how you would want someone to deal with you. Go ahead.
Meekness and long suffering.
Meekness and long suffering. This is one thing we need to do. Be long suffering, understanding what you're gonna have to be patient, and you know, obviously your brothers ain't gonna get it right overnight. We have to be long suffering, man. Like the Lord is long suffering with us. If the Lord wasn't long suffering with us, all of us would have been dead a long time ago. The Lord would have came back already, but because he's long suffering and patient, he's dealing patiently with us. And the same way the Lord's dealing patiently with us, we need to deal patiently with our brothers.
That's right.
So yeah, man, it's how it goes. Go ahead.
Verse 13, forbearing one another and forgiving.
Forbearing one another, man, and forgiving one another. That's what we need to do, man. Forbear one another. Go ahead.
If any man have a quarrel against any, even as Christ forgave you, so also do ye.
Listen, man. Same way we got forgiven. If we want mercy, we have to also forgive our brothers, man. Just before you pick that knife up, just think, you know what? I should be dead. I should be dead myself. And then think, you know what? I'm not going to kill him because really I should be dead. And you should be thinking, you know what? I don't want someone to kill me, so I'm not going to kill no one. Get me? Just sit in your house and be mad about the situation for a bit, and then let it go, man. Sleep on it. Listen, you'll calm down within a week. You'll calm down within a week. Listen, you're not going to hold that anger forever, man. Usually, when someone does you wrong, in the heat of the moment, it's going to come to your mind like, you know what? I'm not taking that. But when you sleep on it, give it a week, you'll calm down. And then guess what? A year from now, guess what happens a year from now? You don't even remember that situation no more. You forget that whole situation happened, man. But if you do murder him, you're sitting in jail a year from now, you realize a year later that maybe I didn't have to kill him. I wouldn't be sitting in this box for 25 years right now. You realize a bit too late. Go ahead.
Verse 14, and above all these things, put on charity,
Charity is love and kindness and keeping the law and brotherhood and whatnot. Go ahead.
which is the bond of perfectness.
Put on charity, man. Charity is what? Brotherhood. Speak about your issues, man. That's it. That's all you have to do. Speak about your issues. You ain't got to put on a balaclava and kill him to where you can't even resolve the situation. Listen, if someone, most people kill each other over money. Now, if someone owes you money and you kill them, guess what? You're still not going to get that money back, man. Surely you can speak to them and you work out what is it? A payment plan. You can work. You can't do a payment plan with someone who's dead. You're sitting in jail for a few grand that you would have forgot about in 3-4 years' time. That you would have made back triple in 3-4 years' time. But if you kill him, he can't even do a payment plan, and you're still going to be down that money, except you're sitting in jail now. So all of this, if black people just fought before they done something stupid, we would be in a better position than we're in right now. Go ahead, anyone there?
Can't. And let the peace of God rule in your hearts.
And there you go, man. Let the peace of God rule in your hearts. Go ahead.
To the which also ye are called in one body,
Exactly.
and ye be thankful.
Exactly. What's anyone there?
No, that's it.
That was Colossians 3:12. Give me Luke chapter 23 and verse 32. Let me see if it's the right one. Yeah. And also, any questions, just type them in.
What's that? Luke chapter 23
and 32.
Luke 23 and 32. And there will also two other malefactors led with him to be put to death. All right. Luke 23 and 32. And there were also two other malefactors led with him to be put to death.
So this is Christ getting ready to die, to die. And there's two other males with him, one on either side. These ones were criminals though. These ones actually did wrong, whereas Yahushua didn't. Go ahead.
Verse 33. And when they were come to the place which is called Calvary, there they crucified him and the malefactors, one on the right hand and the other on the left. Then said Yahushua, Father, forgive them.
And listen, man, if Christ can be in this situation where he's ready to die, man, he's ready to die. The same people he came to save is mocking him and so forth. And he said what?
Father, forgive them.
He said, Father, forgive them, man. He said, Father, forgive them, man. Go ahead.
For they know not what they do.
Father, forgive them, man. What does it mean to forgive? To forgive means what? To not take vengeance for something, for a wrong done. That's what forgive means, man. Pull up the word forgiveness and let me see what the definition is, if it's the same one. Christ said, Father, forgive them, man. And this is what we need to learn, forgiveness. So because it seems like we don't know what forgiveness is, I'm going to pull up the definition of forgiveness.
The forgiveness definition.
So because we don't know what forgiveness is, I'm just going to pull up the definition so we all can be clear on what forgiveness is. Because there's certain words which goes over people's heads. People just say, yeah, forgiveness, but they don't know what forgiveness actually means. Like the word forgiveness and hate and certain things, there's meanings behind them. There's explanations to what forgiveness actually means.
The definition, the action or process of forgiving or being forgiven.
There was a next definition. Not that one.
What is the true definition of forgiveness?
See if that one brings it out. Let me see if this is the right one. That one there, that the way they wrote it just sounds like that's someone trying to teach. It sounds like.
You want that one there?
What is the? Yeah, that's a good one. That's the one.
Alright. What is the true definition of forgiveness?
So this is the true definition of forgiveness, because people read the word forgiveness but don't know what forgiveness truly means. This is the true definition of forgiveness. Go ahead.
Alright. Is a conscious, deliberate decision to release the feelings of resentment or vengeance.
So you release feelings of resentment or vengeance. So by you forgiving someone, it means you don't take vengeance on them. It means you don't harm them, you don't kill them. That's what the word forgiveness means. You don't take vengeance. That's the definition of forgiveness. Now, people think forgiveness means what? Someone does you a harm and you say, oh, I forgive you, and you allow them to do you harm again. No, you don't, man. Forgiveness means you just don't take vengeance. That's all forgiveness means. You don't take vengeance. So if someone robs you, you don't 2 weeks later come and kill them. That's what forgiveness is. You're not doing them a harm. That's forgiveness. You're not doing harm. People think forgiveness is just a magical thing where someone robs you and you have to like them. It doesn't work like that. You're obviously not going to like someone that harms you and robs you. But by you forgiving them, it means you do them no harm. That's the definition of forgiveness. Is there anyone that, or is that about it?
Yeah, vengeance was a person or a group who has harmed you.
So that's what forgiveness is. Not taking vengeance against someone who has harmed you, who's done you a wrong. That's what forgiveness is. You not taking vengeance. Forgiveness ain't this guy, I have to like him even though he done me wrong. No, you just don't take vengeance against him. By you not taking vengeance against him, that's you forgiving him. That's you forgiving him. You not taking vengeance against him. That's you forgiving him. Go ahead.
Regardless of whether they actually deserve it.
Regardless of whether they actually deserve your forgiveness. Now, some people kill one another because they believe someone don't deserve their forgiveness, so they take vengeance. But right here, we didn't deserve Christ's forgiveness, and Christ said, you know what? I'm not gonna hold no resentment. I'm not gonna hold it against them because they don't know what they're doing wrong. And you have to understand, in this day and age, most black men don't know what they're doing wrong.
That's right.
So you have to forgive them, meaning what? You have to not take your knife out the sheath and stab them and hold it against them. Because the people that we dealing with today, they don't know that they're doing wrong also. Go ahead. Same way Christ could forgive us, we have to forgive them. Same way Christ said, you know what? Don't take no vengeance against them. Forgive them. We have to not take no vengeance against our own people. Yeah, go ahead. Is it anything left? Yeah, go ahead.
So forgiveness does not mean forgetting.
Exactly. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting. Now, if someone robbed you, you don't have to forget it. You just don't take harm against them, and you just don't put yourself in that position to be around them, man. If someone robs you, if a friend betrays you, by you forgiving them is you not taking vengeance. It don't mean you forget it. You remember it, and you remember, maybe I need to tighten up and not put myself in that position again. Maybe I need to not be around that person that way. Maybe I not need to be around that person. Forgiveness don't mean you forget. There's this Christian concept where they believe that you have to forgive and forget. No, man, you can't forget. Because if you forget, guess what happens? Guess what that means? That person's going to keep doing the same thing to you today, tomorrow, the day after that. By you forgiving them, it just means you don't take vengeance. But don't be silly and put yourself in the position for them to do the same thing to you again, man. Go ahead.
Nor does it mean owning or excusing offenses.
Nor does it mean condoning or excusing offenses. Forgiving someone don't mean you condone the offense and just keep letting them do it again. Keep letting them do it again. That's not what forgiveness is. That's what being I don't know what would you call that? I don't even know what to say what call that being is. But that's not what we do. Go ahead.
You mean that you just allow it like
yeah.
Just
just walk all over me, I forgive you. Just walk all over me, I forgive. It don't work like that, man. Forgiveness is you have to be smart and not put yourself in that position to make them do that wrong to you again, man. But you don't take vengeance. That's what forgiveness is. Forgiveness is all about you not avenging yourself. That's what forgiveness is. Go ahead. You say something.
Even the other one, or excuse an offensive meaning, you in your mind go, you know what, they wasn't wrong. You tried to make it look like you was wrong, but you don't have to even excuse it. Like you don't have to lie to yourself.
Exactly. You know the wrong, and basically you know the wrong, and you just be like, you know what? Because it's my brother, I'm gonna forgive him, man. It don't mean you have to hang out with him. It don't mean you have to spend time with him. You don't have to do that. If he's treating you like what's it called? All you have to do is just not do no harm to him. Yeah, it's that simple. You just have to not do no harm to him. Like Christians say things like, oh, I've heard them say things like, someone would do them a big harm and they'd be like, well, I have to forgive him. I have to love him. That's what they say. One time there was some Christian woman, some man must have raped her, and guess what she said? Well, I'm a Christian now, so I have to forgive him and love him and blah, 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 blah. By her forgiving him means what? You just stay away from him, you don't do him no harm. That's all forgiveness is, man. It don't mean you have to sit next to him in church and hold his hand now. Forgiveness don't work like that, man. That's a false concept of forgiveness. That's what Christianity and the world teaches you. That's not what forgiveness is, man. That's a lie, man. And with that brings us to the end of the class. We're gonna do the announcements and prayers. So yeah, that's the end of the class.
All right, that was a powerful class. Let's give Officer Dunbar a hand. All right, we are the I.S.U.P.K. Started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General Yohanna, ruled for a new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They're here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After the 6 months, the brother and sister will get permission from the heads to marry tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers 18:21, Malachi 3:8-10 means 10% of every penny of any increase you receive from the Lord. Priest fund, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like to give. Upcoming holy convocations
is Feast of Trumpets, which is what day is it? Is the 28th of September, right? Yes, the 28th of September.
So, upcoming holy convocation is Feast of Trumpets on the 28th of September. So all Akim and Aqua, check the bulletin board in the hallway and check all I.S.U.P.K social media as well. So Facebooks, YouTubes, Instagrams. And if anyone wants to become a Upa in the school, to start with all black boots, shirts, pants, headbands, and scarves, I'm definitely going to rise in place to eat.
I think there's some over. Yeah, you got some over here as well.
Yeah, the other one. Right, we're going to send up the Lord's Prayer. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Hayah, Shamka, Yahweh, Malakwaka, Taba'ah, Ratzaika, Hayah, Aisha, Ba'aratza, Kawo, Hayah, Ba'Shemaya, Nathanawa, Lakam, Cow, Yawam, Wasalaknawa, Kabawaknawa, Kasalaknawa, Kabawakinawa, Wala'ah, Tabaya Ainawa, Banasayawan, Abod,
Bal,
Habashainawa,
Shainai,
Mayan,
Mayan,
Rai,
Rai,
Kaya,
Kaya,
Laka,
Laka,
Hamalakwa,
Laka,
Waha'ala,
Ha'ala,
Wahapara,
Ha'ara,
La'aiwalamya,
Amen.
Amen.
Our Father,
Our Father,
art in heaven,
which art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come,
Thy kingdom come,
thy will be done,
thy will be done
in earth
in earth
as it is in
as
heaven.
it is in heaven.
Give us this day
Give us this day
our daily bread,
our daily bread,
and forgive us our debts,
and forgive us our
as
debts.
we forgive our
We
debtors,
forgive our debtors,
and lead us not
and lead us not
into temptation,
into temptation,
but deliver us
from
evil.
evil.
For thine is the
For
kingdom,
thine is the kingdom,
and the power,
and the power,
and the glory,
and the glory
forever.
forever. So be it. The next prayer, the Hakah, the power, Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Ba'Hashemi Hawashai,
Hashem Yahushai,
Babukashah,
Baruch
Nefela Nawa,
Shalom,
Hakah,
Akal,
Hakah,
Akal,
Larapa'ah,
Barakah,
Kal Makala,
Kalmakala,
Wakal Madawa,
Kalmadawa,
Hakah,
Akal,
Lataha,
Altahar,
Hamatazarayim,
Hamatazarayim,
Hakah,
Akal,
Lahafia,
Mahafir,
Hamafia,
Mahfir,
Hakah,
Akal,
Al-Rukawaf,
Barakawaf,
Hatama Allah,
Kama'ala,
Legarishah,
Barishan,
Ba'Hashem,
Bashem,
Yahushai,
Yahushai,
Thawada,
Fuada,
Aman,
Aman. In English, Yahweh,
Yahweh.
in the name of Yahushai,
In the name of Yahushai,
please give us the power,
please give us the
power to heal
the power to heal
all manner of sickness,
all manner of sickness
all manner of disease,
and all manner of
the
disease,
power to cleanse the lepers,
the power to cleanse the lepers,
the power to raise the dead,
the power to raise the dead,
the power against unclean
the
spirits,
power against unclean spirits,
to cast them out.
to cast them out.
In the name of Yahushai,
In the name of Yahushai,
thank you.
thank you. So be it. Next prayer is the blessings. Barakatha Yahweh,
For Yahweh,
Wa
for
Yahushai,
Yahushai,
Wa Mayaka'ala,
Wama Yaka'ala,
Wa Alahaya,
Alahayim,
Bata Zabi'ah,
Zabi'ah,
Ala-Wapihana,
Alawakihana,
Ha Alawapia,
Alawakih,
Ha Sarunium,
Saranyam,
Ha Kwatazayunyum,
Hakatazayanyam,
Ha Kalia Alium,
Hakaliyalyam,
Wa Akwapia,
Hakafim,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Ba Shebi Habushai,
Hashem Yahushai,
Thawada Aman.
what a in the English, bless you Yahweh,
Bless you, Yahweh,
and Yahushai,
and
and
Yahushai,
Michael,
and Michael,
and the angels,
and the angels,
commanding General Yahanna,
commanding General Yohanan,
generals,
the generals,
captains,
the captains,
officers,
the officers,
troopers,
the troopers,
and the sisters,
and the sisters,
Yahweh, in
Yahweh,
the name of Yahushai,
in the name of Yahushai,
thank you.
thank you. So be it.
Blessed you, Yahweh,
Blessed are you, Yahweh,
King of heaven and earth,
King of heaven and earth,
and all things living.
and all things living,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
in the name of Yahushai,
in the name of Yahushai.
listen to us now,
Listen to us now,
right now,
right now,
send evils,
and evils,
curses,
and curses,
and punishment,
and punishment,
destruction
and destruction
to the heathen
unto the heathen
that speak against
that
us,
speak against us,
thy prophets,
thy prophets,
the teachers,
the teachers,
the princes,
the princes,
the priests,
the priests,
the Israelite brothers,
the Israelite brothers,
and the school,
and the schools,
send evils,
send evils,
curses,
and curses,
punishment,
and
and
punishments,
destruction
and
to
destruction
the heathen,
to the heathen,
and shake loose
and shake
the
loose
treasure
the
of
treasures
the rich of Israel
of the rich of Israel
that refuse to give
that refuse to
to
give
the school,
to the school,
force their riches,
force their riches
enter into thy sanctuary,
to enter into thy sanctuary,
send evils,
send evils
and curses,
and curses
and punishment,
and
and
punishments
destruction
and
to
destruction
the Edomites,
to the
and
Edomites
the nations,
and the
and
nations
the drug dealers,
and the drug
the
dealers,
court system,
the court system,
prison system,
the prison system,
Planned Parenthood,
Planned
all
Parenthood,
the governments of our enemies,
all the governments of our enemies,
Amalek, synagogues and armies,
Amalek synagogues and armies,
Roman Catholic Church,
Roman Catholic
the
Church,
Pope,
the Pope,
Islam,
Islam,
Christianity,
Christianity,
Egyptology,
Egyptology,
militia,
militia,
Ku Klux Klan,
Ku Klux Klan,
Aryan nations,
Aryan Asians,
skinheads,
skinheads,
Pascal
Pasikomatasi,
gay movement,
the gay movement,
the lesbian
the
movement,
lesbian
spies,
movement, spies,
workers of witchcraft,
workers of witchcraft,
NASA space program,
NASA space programs,
Army,
Army,
Navy,
Navy,
Air Force,
Air Force,
Marines,
Marines,
Wall Street,
Wall Street,
open up the internet
open up the internet
and the airways,
and the airwaves,
cable access
the
channels,
cable access, suck it, yeah, read it,
and the radio channels,
and the radio channels,
convict the spirit
convict the
of
spirit
any of thy people
of any of thy people
that seek to stop us,
that seek to stop us
bring swift destruction
and bring swift
to
destruction
all the heathen
to all the
that
heathens
stand in the way
that stand in the
or
way
try to stop us
or try to stop
from
us
broadcasting your words
from broadcasting your words
throughout the planet Earth.
throughout the planet Earth.
Let loose
Let
all
loose
the plagues,
all the plagues,
cause them to go
cause them to go
to and fro
to and fro
through the earth
through the earth
and consume them.
and consume them.
Let the plagues
Let the plagues
shake the house
shake the
of
house
the thief
of the thief
and the murderer.
and the murderer.
Let Yahushai,
Let Yahushai,
Michael,
Michael,
Gabriel,
and Gabriel,
come down
come down
with the flying
with
saucers
the flying saucers
and punish all the heathens
and punish all the heathens
that come up against us
that come up against
as
us
we speak thy word.
as we speak thy word.
Cause it to be known
Cause it to be known
by all
that
is the angels
is the angels
that have done it.
that have done it.
Cause it to be spread
Cause it to be spread
through the media
through the media
throughout the whole world.
throughout the whole world.
Cause them to shake
Cause them to shake
at thy coming
at thy coming
in the name of Yahushua.
in the name of Yahushua.
Thank you.
Always,
So
so be. And the last prayer to bless Israel, Yahweh,
Yahweh.
Bahashem Yahushua,
Hashem Yahushua.
Barak Lanawa,
Barak
Wa Yasha'ala,
Yahweh.
Wa Havaya,
Habaya.
Sapayam,
Pariah.
Barak Rapah,
Barak Rapah.
Magun Hagun,
Ben Hagan.
the Gordon family,
Gordon family.
the Bennett family,
Bennett family.
the George family,
George family.
the Zerah family.
This is Zerah family.
Yeah, that's it.
All Israel.
All of Israel, all of
All
Israel,
Israel.
Bahashem,
Hashem.
Yahushua, Tawada, Aman. And what we just said was, Lord, in the name of Yahushua, bless us and Israel and the school. Bless, heal, shield, protect those other ones. In the name of Yahushua, thank you, so be. So the sisters, Yeshav, please have a seat. We're going to give the teacher one courtesy salute. Men of Israel, Amadim Shabbat, Amadim Barak, Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua Barakatah.
Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Barakatah.
Now we're going to say Sar, and for the sisters, Amadim, Men of Israel, Amadim Shabbat, Amadim Barak, Yahweh Shema Alatha Bahashem Yahushua. Yad Yamatah, class dismissed.
8 before I came out, you know. I had some ackee and saltfish still. I mean, I'm full.